Good evening, everyone. I am hoping you can now hear us. Huge apologies. This is the world of technology for us, which we are just discovering. We've already tried to speak to you without a camera or a microphone, so fingers crossed we'll get it right third time lucky. Just to introduce myself, my name is Lindsay Watterson and I'm head teacher here at Queen's Park High School.
I'm Claire Scanlon, Senior Assistant Head Teacher, Transition Lead and person failing to get the technology working at present. So apologies for that, but here we are. Take 3 is going to be the winner, I'm sure.
Fingers crossed. Okay, so first of all, I'd just like to start by saying we appreciate having so many people joining us this evening. We've got quite a big audience out there, which is lovely. We would much prefer to be able to see you in person and very much would prefer to have you here being able to look around the school in the normal way. And in particular for the children, that's who I feel for at this point in time, because making your school choice is important and quite often you get that feel for a school by coming in, but hopefully we can try and share that with you virtually as much as possible, and also with the other materials that we've got for you to look at afterwards. We're going to do our normal presentation, so we're going to try and share with you the key information. Our technology is working.
Fingers crossed. During our presentation, if you have any questions that you think, if I was there this evening, this is what I'd like to ask, please feel free to email openevening@qphs.co.uk. I'll be able to pick that up throughout the presentation and we'll try to answer those questions at the end. If you don't do it during the presentation, that's fine. We'll be able to pick those up after the event itself and I'll be able to respond via email.
Okay, so as we've just said, it's an exciting time for children in Year 6. You're going to be in that slightly strange position where you've literally just returned to school and returned into your Year 6 class, and now we're already making you think about that transition to high school and that move into Year 7. These lovely little smiley faces you can see on the screen right now are our say for some parents will be here before you know it, and probably that journey through high school to Year 11 and potentially up to Year 13 will probably be a speedy one too. Many of you may have siblings in school already or children in school, depending on who I'm talking to there, but hopefully we'll be able to support you on this journey and make this transition as positive as it can be. So who are we as a school? At Queen's Park, our vision is a strong one. It's about inspiring individuals, empowering minds and defining futures. And those statements are about all members of our school community. In particular, our main focus is always upon our students. We value very much the fact that we are a small school. At the moment, we've got about 600 children in the school, but it means that we're a strong community. We know our children, they're nurtured through here and they're supported on that journey and inspired along the way. And we feel that that's very important. In January, we received our Ofsted inspection and we were rated as a good school across all areas of the school. We've worked hard over a number of years to improve outcomes for our young people and improve opportunities as well. And hopefully we'll be able to share some of that with you through this presentation. As a school, we are an academy within the Learning Trust, which means that we work alongside 2 other schools, that's Christleton High School and Chester International School, which is also located on the Hanbridge campus here on our site. As a group of schools, we work collaboratively to try to improve opportunities for our young people and try to ensure that their learning opportunities are the best that they can be. Okay, so sometimes people ask you what's special about your school, and it might seem a little bit obvious. Well, if you look at the picture, you might be able to see. How cute are they? But what is important about our school and what makes us special, I would have to say, it is our students. We've got some fantastic students in this school. We frequently talk about our children as individuals, and I think that's really important. Coming to Queen's Park, you can be yourself and you can be you. We nurture, I was going to say a little bit of variety and quirkiness, but we quite like the fact that, yeah, children can be here, they can be themselves, and we value them for who they are. What else makes us special? Our staff. And I have to mention this because one of the things that is really important to us here is the relationship that exists between our students amongst themselves, but also the relationships that exist amongst our staff and our students. And I think at this point in time, more than any, I can sit here and I can talk about this with real depth and understanding, particularly having gone through the experience of lockdown and school closure and how that has felt for us as staff in school, but also how that's felt for children. And what's been highlighted for us more than anything is the value of those relationships and how they've been nurtured through this period of time in particular as well. And our staff regularly go above and beyond to support young people. I see it every day, and it is something that makes us a very special place to be. I don't like to spend a lot of time talking about data because I know for some people it's a positive, for some people it's, you know, the time where you could have a little sleep. But our academic success is really important to us. Over a number of years, this school has been on an improvement journey in terms of our academic outcomes. And this summer we knew was always going to be a special summer for us. We've worked hard to get to the point where our exam results this summer improved significantly. And I've given some information there in particular to show the uplift in our results. And a third of our grades this year were awarded at grades 9 to 7, which in sort of old money for people is the A-star A grades, which is an outstanding achievement on every level. Our maths outcomes have improved significantly with almost an uplift of 20% across the board, and is one of our strongest performing subjects, along with a number of other subjects I've listed there. Our students' progress for the first time is above national. We're working at a point where our students are performing in the top 20% in the country in quite a number of our subject areas. And again, our sixth form outcomes were very good, and all our students have been able to successfully move on to their next life phase, despite some of the complications that came through this summer with the way grading was awarded. But we're very proud of those achievements. So coming back to our pastoral care, I'm just sharing a quote with you there from a parent or parents, which was at the end of term in July, to say thank you to all our staff for the work that they do. And I think for me that sums up the level of pastoral care in the school. You treat each child as an individual, and your constant dedication and commitment is truly appreciated. The pastoral care is very strong across the school. Our form tutors stay with their tutor group from year 7 up through the school. There is also then a key stage lead who works with our form tutors, and then all members of school, whether they're teaching staff or support staff, work very holistically with the children as well to support them through. We also have in school our house system, so all our children are join one of our houses, which is either Eton, Grosvenor or Westminster. The house system puts in place an opportunity for students to be part of a structure that enables them to mix with children outside of their own year group. So our houses work from year 7 all the way up to year 13, and our students have opportunities to be leaders, to have student leadership roles within those houses. They run competitions for charity, so we have sports day, children compete within their houses, so we have this little bit of inter-school rivalry that takes place through our house system, but it enables students to grow and to find their potential in other ways that's not necessarily through the academic curriculum. Okay, Okay, we also work in partnership with quite a number of outside agencies, companies, businesses, education institutions as well. And those partnerships are all based around trying to broaden the experiences of our students. There are a number of things on there which you may be familiar to. You have mentioned the Learning Trust. We also work with Maths Mastery, so our students work through the Maths Mastery programme within our maths curriculum. We work with Storyhouse, University of Chester, and also with Teaching School Alliance, which also supports professional development of teachers as well as enabling some wider opportunities for students as well. Okay, what else makes us special? Our facilities, really. I know when I first came to the school, I was quite amazed at how many spaces there are. We're very lucky in the fact that we have lots of open spaces, our corridors are wide, but we have our sports hall is huge, we have a gym as well. We're also one of only either 4 or 5 state schools, we can't quite work it out, in the country to have our own boathouse down by the river. Which again broadens some of our enrichment offer that we're able to give to our students. I just feel disappointed that you're not able to come in and have a little look round, but hopefully maybe at some point in the future we might be able to do that. Opportunities. I will always say to children joining secondary school that secondary school is one big opportunity, and it's up to you to come and find what those opportunities are, to stretch yourself out of your comfort zone and look at things that you might want to do. One example here is D&V, giving children opportunity to take part in the Duke of Edinburgh programme. You might be interested in coding, you might be interested in robotics, orchestra, choir, after school production. There's a whole host of things. And it would be lovely if when you start at secondary school that you make the most of those opportunities and get involved. It also helps you make new friendships as well. Parents, we don't like you to miss out. We host every September a parents welcome evening for our parents too. Particularly if your children are new to secondary school, because we understand that there's that difference between how your relationship might work with primary school compared to how it might work when your child joins secondary school. So it's important that you feel part of our community. You've got an example here of one of the ways in which that might happen. We have our annual Dragon Boat race, which once again was thwarted by COVID this year, but I'm sure our staff against parents rivalry will be, I'm sure it will happen again. The staff need to win. Okay. We have recently won a number of awards as a school. Last year we won the Team of the Year award at the Cheshire School Awards for our STEM group, which is our science group who invented a biscuit dunking machine and took part in the Big Bang and got through to the national finals at the Big Bang as well, which was fantastic. On the left of your screen there, you've got information about our social media. A couple of years ago, we did win the Communications Award as well. If you want to keep up to date and keep an eye on things that are happening here in Queen's Park, please do follow us on Twitter or on Facebook and keep an eye on our website. We do pretty well every day put something out which gives you a flavour of some of the things that are happening at school and gives you a very clear oversight of what it might be like to be a student here and the things that happen. So do have a look out for those. Okay, I'm going to hand over to Mrs. Scanlon now, who can talk to you a little bit more.
Excellent, now that we've got everything working. So in terms of the next steps to high school, how do we support transition? We think it's essential that that journey starts now. Over the last week or so, Miss Morris and I have been visiting the primary schools and making those first links with the children, particularly in year 5. Most year 6s already knew us, which was lovely. They were bright and saying hello and remembered who we were. And we think that that's really important to build those relationships from a really early stage, as that eases and supports the transition. So I'll talk to you now about our normal transition practice, and then I'll tell you a little bit about what we did this schools. What that means is that we have to work really hard with lots and lots of different people. So we have our main feeder primary schools where we have a number of children come in, and then we have some other primary schools where maybe 2 or 3 or even 1 student will move. So it's really important that we're working with those feeder primaries and other primaries so that we can get information about the children and so that we can ensure that when they do make that move to high school, it's as smooth as possible. I mean, there are children, like I say, who do come on their own, and it's important for them that when they come, they feel like they're part of the school already. So through our transition work, we normally try to establish and build friendships and relationships. This year that was more challenging and complicated. However, we still managed to do that through linking up children via their parents, through thinking about students with similar interests who live near each other, etc. And when they came, there were lots of children who were already firm friends despite not knowing each other before that. We visit schools throughout the year, so it isn't just at this time. This is the start of a process, and we visit schools so that we can establish those relationships, and we make links to share information so that when children are coming to us, we know what we need to know about them academically, personally, socially, so that we can ensure that the decisions we make about them are the right ones and that we're making sure that their start is as smooth as possible. So some examples of support and events that we hold. So apart from this year, for obvious reasons, we have held a Year 4-5 summer sports camp over the are there on that picture, and they had already been in the school and they had already mixed with other people. So the opportunity for those young people to come into the school from quite an early age meant that even though they didn't have their normal practice this summer, they already had those links. So that is something we'll be looking to run in the summer next year for Years 4 and 5 children. We also normally have curriculum challenge days and visits to the school for Year 5. So I said to them when I met them, you know, this is our start of our journey. We bring them up into high school and we get them learning about learning at high school, learning about the subjects, finding out what it's like to learn, finding out how we learn at Queen's Park High, because it's really important for every individual child to find the right school for them. So finding out about how and what we learn is important. And because you can't come in this evening and see that in normal practice, we'll explain to you how you will be able to find out more about that. At the moment, they obviously can't come into the school, but we're looking at creative ways that we can engage with those children at a curriculum level, because we think that that's an essential part of the transition process as well as the social transition. Once the children are coming to the high school, so once we know from March the 1st who's been allocated to our school, we open events that begin in May to welcome parents and students to the school. So we have our induction evening, and that's when we start to give out some of that mind-boggling bombardment of information that we need. And whilst there is a lot of information to get through, what you have got then is time to sort of get used to it. So we'll share our student and parent guide, we'll have uniformity here so you can go and get measured up for uniform, we'll have key staff in the building so that you can meet them. This year we weren't able to have people in the building, but all of that information went out to parents in a timely fashion so that students and parents knew what we expected, and we kept those channels of communication open, especially with our primary schools. We would normally hold an induction day, so next year that's on June the 30th, I think. Oh, well done. And that is when students come up and spend a day at high school where they will meet their tutor group and their tutor, where they will experience some lessons, where they have their all-important lunchtime at school, which is the most exciting part of the day, and then do some work with their tutor group, perhaps some enrichment opportunities at the end of it. Again, this year they couldn't have that induction day, so what we did do was we filmed a little tour of the school, we filmed some introductions to the tutors, and we sent that out to children so that they could know who their tutor was, so that they could get some information about what school was like. And what was lovely on the first day, some of the children said, yeah, I know where we have to go up the stairs here. So we tried our best, and I think successfully, to manage that transition without the induction day, but hopefully this June we'll be able to welcome the children as normal and run that induction day. We also hold a summer school for Year 6 during the holidays, so normally sort of the penultimate week of the summer holidays, where again we bring the students in and they can work with and mix with other children who are coming into Year 7. So that's specifically for Year 6 students who are now moving into Year 7. We usually run that with our own staff, as we think that's important, for it allows relationships to start to build and some familiar faces when the children begin in September. So that offers a range of subject specific activities. So one year we did it and we had a whole day of one particular subject or activity. The student said it would have been really nice if we'd been able to see more and experience more. So the second time we did half days, and that meant that the students were able to pretty much get a flavour of most subjects or most faculty areas within the school. So that is the method in which we do it, and that seems to work really effectively for the students. We also try to take Year 7 away on a residential. The poor current Year 7's got their Year 6 residentials cancelled and their Year 7 one cancelled, so I've promised them that I will take them on their Year 7 residential, even if they're in Year 8 at the time. But what we will do is we'll take the children away on a residential for a few nights, where we work in tutor groups, we work in year groups, we do some challenges, some physical activity, some in-class activities, some teamwork activities, just for them to get to know one another, them to get to know their strengths, for them to push themselves outside of their comfort zones, and again to work really closely with the tutor team and the Key Stage lead, so that we're building those relationships with those students that are all important as we move on. So some key dates. Applications for high school need to be in by the 31st of October. It's got first choice there because obviously Queen's Park will be your first choice, but I will say that it's important for parents and for children to be making those choices. So a first, a second and a third. I was asked this week, do they have to put 3 choices in? The answer is no in some respects, but I would say that it was important that you did put a second and a third choice in, because if you weren't allocated your first choice, you would then by default just be allocated to any school that had space. So consider the options and make sure that you put them in the order that you want them. There's no gaming. Some schools tell people to do some strange things, but the honest answer is you just say, this is the place I want to go most, first choice. I'd be happy to go here, second choice. I wouldn't mind going there, third choice, and just put those options in, because those are the schools that you then engaged with, you know something about. And if your child was allocated to not their first choice, you have been part of that decision. There's then a big process when all those places are allocated, and you will get the decision on the 1st of March. So that's when the local authority will tell you which school you've been allocated to. If you've been allocated a place at our school, then we will be in touch soon after that as our first welcome to the school, so that we start those communications with home, with parents, carers and children. So that induction evening I talked about is on the 19th of May in 2021. And 29th of June, which I remembered well, is the planned induction day. That induction day is a common date across the local authority, so that all schools within this Cheshire West and Chester area run that event on the same day, so there's less disruption then to the primary schools. So questions that came in earlier, and I will check my email again in a second, were around class sizes. So we were asked what we anticipate the class size to be in 2021. The honest answer is we will know once we've got the information about how many children have applied to the school. Class sizes would never be any more than 30. So our PAN, the most children we can take is 180, and that will be into a 6th form entry. Normally class sizes are smaller than 30, but we wouldn't anticipate any being any bigger than that. Currently class sizes in Year 7 are around 26. So that's where we're at now. I can't promise anything until we have the actual numbers that come in, but we are considerate of that, and we wouldn't want to be putting children in classes any bigger than 30. So what next? Time when normally we'd be sending you off around the school. We can't this evening, so we're going to send you virtually around the school instead. So on our page on the website now, you should have some videos which have gone live. They are your opportunity to go and visit all of our subject areas, to meet some key staff, and to hear about the learning journey. So to find out about what it's like to learn in each faculty area, to see some video footage perhaps of some learning, maybe some photographs, and to know what it is like to learn here. There's an opportunity to hear from key pastoral staff. So Mrs. Bearcroft, who's the Key Stage 3 lead, will talk to you about the pastoral support students about their starts and their journey through Queen's Park High. So you've got some year 7s after a week at high school, you've got a new student who's joined year 10, and then you've got our student leaders who are in year 13 who've been here either from year 7 or joined in the 6th form, talking to you about their journeys through the school. And I think that they're our greatest advocates. They are the people who tell it exactly like it is, and will really talk about their own experiences. So please do, if you don't click on anything else, do look at their videos. They're really good and really important. So like I said before, if you want any further information or clarification on anything you see in the videos or anything we've talked about now, that email address will remain open, and I will be able to respond to any questions there. If there are parents out there who'd like to discuss a specific issue linked to their children and any SEND, then Mrs. Williams, who's the SENCO, is available, and her email address is there. So I'm just going to leave that on screen for a second in case you need to scribble anything down quickly. You'll be able to speak to Mrs. Williams, and if you need to have a conversation or make an appointment with her, you'll be able to do that. Okay, here we are again. So it's like the two Ronnies at this point, I think. So yeah, that's